Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have another fun-looking puzzle. This one is called Killer with Arrow, and I'm probably going to mispronounce this, but by psninn or something along those lines. I've seen this setter's puzzles many times over the few months. I don't believe I've had one on the channel though before, but I can't quite recall. It seems to happen a lot where I just can't recall things. My memory is not as good as it used to be, and it never was good to begin with. So anyway, that said, let's take a look at the rule sets for this thing and see if we can get it figured out, because I would love to get this onto the channel. So we have normal Sudoku rules apply. So in this, they kind of word it a little bit different, but fill in digits 1 through 9 in each row, column, and box without repetition. Same concept. Every row, every column, and every 3x3 box must contain the digits 1 through 9 once each. Digits in a cage must sum to the number in the top left corner and cannot repeat. So we have a few cages here. Look at this one. Doesn't matter which one. These two digits, whatever they are, they add up to the 5, because that's what the clue in the top left corner is. And then we have digits along an arrow sum to the number in the circle. So we have a couple of arrows all around here. This one right here, these two digits, whatever they happen to be, when you add them together, they equal this. And there is no limitation to digits being able to repeat on an arrow if other rules allow for that to occur, which looks like it's going to be come into play here. So I figured I'd mention it. But that said, that's all there's to it. There's only a couple of rules. There's not a huge amount of clues in here, but there are a few, enough to work with, obviously. And let's jump into this thing. We'll see if we can get it figured out. Now, like you, I'm sure, the very first thing I saw when I looked at this thing was this bad boy here. Now, I'm not quite sure we're going to get a given digit here, but we're going to take a look at it and see if we can. So like I said, we don't have anything where we cannot repeat digits. As you see, if we couldn't repeat digits, this would be completely useless. It would never work. But a good place to start would be to just try to check our bare minimums here. So we have a 1, 2 would be bare minimum. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So yeah, it does end up just being a bare minimum type situation. So this has to be 9. These all have to be 1s, and these have to be 1, 2 pairs. It's the only way we can make a single digit solution on this arrow. Now that that is figured out, we can look at this 5 cage. Now there's only 2 ways to make a 5. It's either 4, 1 or 2, 3. Well, we can't have 4, 1 now, so this is 2, 3, which is going to give us our 1 and 2 here. Now we also have an 8 cage here, a 3-cell 8 cage. And now in cages, we cannot repeat digits, no matter if other rules allow. And we always have to have a 1 in a 3-cell 8 cage, because if you didn't have 1, you'd have 2, 3, 4, that equals 9. And we have 1s looking at these two. So this must be 1, therefore this is 2 and 1. This is 3 and 2 to clean things up. This is moving along swimmingly. And of course, the second I say that, that is going to instantaneously make this thing become harder. So where is the next place to live? There's a couple places we could look. I'm going to look here because I do see one thing that seems to be quite obvious here. We can't have a 1 on any of these 3 digits on this arrow, because this one sees these two and this one sees this one. We could also check out these guys and look over here too. The point is we can't have a 1 on a 3-cell arrow cage, so the bare minimum is 2, 3, 4. Well, 2, 3, 4, as we had stated previously, equals to 9. So therefore, these have to be from 2, 3, and 4. This can't be 2. Now, this 23 cage, I don't think it's going to come in too much handy right now, but we know it has to be 9, 8, 6. Because the absolute minimum you can make with 3 digits, or say the very highest you can make with 3 digits would be 24, which is 9, 8, 7. So we have to remove 1 from there. And the only way to do that is to push the 7 down to a 6. Now, the other thing we can also look at is 22 cage. Now, we cannot have, well, what can we say about the 22 cage? I don't know that we can, per se. No, wait, you can, right? I got to get my brain out here for a second. Yeah, so the 22 cage, we have to have a 9 on it. Because if we didn't have a 9, the most we could ever put is 876. And 876 is 21. 7 and 6 is 13, plus 8 is 21. So this it must have a 9 on it. The question is, do we want to put that in at the moment? Because there's going to be a couple of options, I think, for it. It could be 985. It could be 976. Yeah, so there's not going to be a ton there. These are probably both items that we'll have to come back to once we figure out some of this other stuff to really dig into what these are going to be. Now, another one to look at would be this guy right here. I just hadn't gotten to it yet, but it was sitting here. The bare minimum these can be now is 4 and 5 because we have 1, 2, and 3. So 4 and 5, and you had to get it equal 9. So these are a 4 or 5 pair, which means this is not a 4. And we can perhaps continue on our journey here. This 8 cage, let's look at it a little further now that we have this 4 or 5 here. It might do us some good. Now, the only ways to make 8 and 3 cells is 1, 2, 5, which cannot work because we have the 2's looking in here, or it's 1, 3, 4. And because we can't make any other way, it must be 1, 3, 4, and we have our 4 looking here. So this is 3 and 4. Those are going to give us our 3 and our 2 and our 4. So we are moving along quite well here. Now, this 7 cage, we can't have 6, 1, and we can't have 4, 3. So it must be a 5, 2. There's no other options. And what else can we do? Let's see what the next thing here that would be obvious would be 2's, perhaps, in this region. We've got multiples of 2's looking in here, so none of these can be 2, so this must be a 2. We also have anything else? One of these is a 2, but I don't really want to mark that just yet. No, I don't see anything else there that seems to be super useful. We can continue with our 1's, though we do have quite a few of them. So this has to be a 1. We might be able to actually finish off 1's or get very close to it. Now it looks like we're going to have an X-wing left in 1's because we have the 1's in all of these cages, or regions, but these two do not have them sorted just yet. Now, 2 isn't quite going to do the same for us. Again, we said one of these is a 2, but there's still some outstanding work to be done there. The 3 must go here. You can see that now that I took a look at it. And I'm wondering if marking 3's is useful. One of these is a 3. This is a 3. Which means this is a 3. So yes, these 3's do seem to be helping. This must be a 3. And we're going to get another X-wing on 3's, which essentially means there must be a 3 on this arrow. And we cannot have, well, that's not true. We could have a 2 here. So the bare minimum right now is a 5. Because it could be 3, 2. Right. Let's continue on our way. This is a 3, 4 pair, actually, now that we look at these 4's staring into this. And can we do anything more with those 4's? We might have a little bit of X-wing help going on, because we have these 4's here, so we must have a 4 up here somewhere. Then we can take these guys and look into here. So we have a 4 here. We already know there's a 4 here, so none of these can be 4. So one of these 2 is. And we know one of these is actually a 4, so that's going to give us this digit. So because none of these can be, one of these must be. Therefore, this is a 5 and this is a 4. And can we can rule out this being a 4. Because the only way to make a 4 in 2 cells, which would have to be these guys, is 1 and 3. Neither one of these can be 1, and neither one of these can be 3, so this can't be 4. So this ends up being a 1-4 pair. And that's going to give us this as a 4, I believe, because we get another X-wing looking across. Plus we have this guy staring over here, so this is 4. Okay. Now, are we getting this guy to any type of situation? Or this guy? Because we know this is at least a 3 or a 4. This guy, no, because we could still have that 2 situation. Okay. Actually, we can continue with our X-Wings. We look at the 2s. So we have a 2 down here somewhere. We know there's a 2 down here, so none of these can be 2. So this is a 3-2 pair. Which means this guy is going to be down to a couple of options. It's either what we can do here, 5 or 7, I think is all that's left over. Because it could be 3-2. Could it be 4-2? I think it can be 4-2, so 5, 6, or 7. And then 4-3 would be the highest we can get to. Okay. Alrighty, so we're going to have to figure out, I think, what this guy is. Unless there's something maybe with 9s that we just haven't looked into yet. No, yeah, there is. This has to be 9. Because of that basicness of Sudoku, which means this isn't 9. And, well, it does mean there's a 9 in one of these two because of these guys. No, it doesn't. Sorry, I didn't see this one. I do not want to make that error. Let's not do that then. The 2, 3. What about this row? Is there anything in here that we can really work with? Because we know where the 1, 2, 3, and 4 go. The problem is that the rest of these digits can be a lot of things. 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. I think we can remove 5 from here, yeah. So there is quite a bit that this can be. We do actually know that one of these two... No, we don't. Again, my brain is leaping to conclusions without fully processing it. Never a good thing. Now, we already knew there had to be a 9 in here, so that's not helping me. I was looking at this column. All right. Base we already know. Looking at, since we've had a bunch of X-Wings already, I'm kind of looking in that general direction to see if it's giving us much use. And doesn't quite appear to be so. So let's go back to our... We know 1s are set up into an X-Wing. We know 2s are kind of set up into X-Wings. Same with the 3s. And 4s. Yeah. We don't have really any 5s, 6s, 7s, or 8s to work with, and the 9 was the only other thing left over. Which, as well... Well, I guess let's look at the 9s. Because we can't have a 9 in any of these because of this guy and then just these basic guys. So one of these two has to be a 9, which means this can't be a 9. If that can't be a 9, this is a 6-8 pair, so this is a 9. Which means that's not a 9. We know we have to have a 9 in here, so this has to be that 9. And the 6-8 pair is looking here, as well as the 9, so this ends up just being a 7. Now this has to be a 5 because of this row. And we should be able to figure out what one of these guys needs to be to equal the 7. Because we know it can't be 6, 1. Can it be 5, 2? That is possible. This can't be a 4, though. So that's really, I think that's just what I need to look at. This can't be a 4 because it forced this to be a 3, and we already have a 3. So we end up getting this as our 4, this as our 4, this as our 1, this as our 1. That's going to give us a few things that we can deal with. Now, 2, 5 is an option. And we said that's the only option, right? Because we can't have a 1 on here. So this is not 6, 1. We can't have 4, 3 because the 4s and 3s are both looking at it. So this must be 2 and this must be 5, which means this must be a 2. And they'll remove the option of the 5 here. So this is either a 4, 2 or a 4, 3 to equal 7, which means this just has to be 4. This has to be 3, this has to be 2, this has to be 3, this has to then be 7. I always like when those things kind of turn back on themselves. Like this one couldn't be, you wouldn't be able to just looking at them, you can't say that how these are distributed, but once you see that one thing can't be something, it then hits something, which then hits something, and then comes back and solves that little problem that we have. So, I don't know, this was one of those quirks of some of these Sudokus that I really enjoy finding. 5 and 2, this 4 here now, we can get rid of that kind of stuff, and I think we're pretty much done with a lot of these low digits. Sorry, my voice is getting a bit strained. Here we go, we can finish this 4. And this cannot be 5 or 7. What do we have? So we have a 6, 8 pair here. This is a given 5. What are these guys? Do we know? 6, 8, and 9. This has to be from 6 or 8 because of this row. The 6, 7, and 8 there doesn't do us any good either. Yeah, we probably are just into Sudoku, and I just need to run down that path. The 9s now in here must go here. Did we finish our 9s? No, we didn't, because we get another X-Wing, like usual. Okay, that's cool. These 6s and 8s are not determined. This 22 cage, we can probably reduce what these can be, I would think now. Because we either have 9, 6, which gives us 15, so this has to be 7. Or we have 9, 8, which is 17, which just has to be 5. So this can't be 6 or 8. Yeah, maybe it didn't. So let's go back and look. We said 1, 2, 3s, and 4s were all done. And we got up to 5s. Okay, we can continue with our 5s, so let's do so. And wait, we just broke something. Fives. Oh. We said this could be 5. I'm being stupid. One of these is a 5. Means none of these are 5s, which means this is the 5. And this is a 5. And this is a 5. Now that we know that's a 5, we can then put the 5 down here. There we go. And again, we get the 6 and 5 is 14. So therefore, this must be an 8. And then we get the 6 and 6 and 8. And we should really now just be able to crank through our remaining Sudoku. The 5s we had finished, the 6s are going to hold on for a minute, and so are the 7s, it seems. What about the 8s and 9s? Okay, we can do 8s, because there has to be an 8 in one of these two. There has, well, maybe I didn't. 9s, let's jump on the 9s. No, again, okay. What the heck did I just hit? Sorry, you can't see it because it's behind my face, but I hit onto one of the other marking notations. Okay, let's look in these boxes. There's got to be things that we can figure out here. We've got 6, 7, and 8. This can't be 8, this can't be 6, this can't be 7. So we get a 6-8 pair going in this column. Oh, this one can't. I want to make sure I didn't screw that up again. This is a 6-7-8 triple. Why did I remove 6 from here? Was I probably accidentally had a it marked. This can't be 8 is what it was. Yeah, okay. This must be a 7 or 8 because of this column. We said this was 6 or 8 because of this column. This must be 6 or 7 because of that column. These are 7 and 8. These are 6 and 9. We've got something in here, I know. We gotta find it first, though. What do we have left in here? 6, 7, and 8. This can't be 6. This is 7 or 8. You gonna have a little sting in this thing now? This is 6, 7, or 8. Is there a clue I just didn't see here that I'm missing? Because I'm not seeing. What about these guys? Everything is 6, 7s, and 8s, pretty much. This is not 8. This is not 7. Okay. These again are 6, 7s, and 8s. This one is just 6 or 7. This is 6, 7, or 8. I am missing something here. That is probably quite plain to see, but for some reason it's not popping its head out at me. One of these must be 8. Got a 9 and a 9 here. What the heck? This should just be basic Sudoku unless I made a mistake somewhere. And because of making a mistake, I can't finish it. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5s are all done. So it's only 6, 7, 8s, and the little bits of 9s here. That's not 7. I hope this isn't some sort of swordfish or something, or Y-wing, which I'm really poor at doing. Because it might take me a second to see that if it is the case. And I need to brush up my game on those things. These last couple weeks have not been very conducive to getting things done. Yeah, it's gonna have to be something like that, I think. And I'm not seeing it, which is no bueno. Because there are no clues left over, so it's something where if I were to put a single digit somewhere, it would break the puzzle. And the question is, what is it? I might have to do it the old-fashioned way of picking something and seeing if it breaks. Because again, like I said, my skills on some of these more complex sightings of X-Wing, or not X-Wings, but other types of collections of digits is not up to par. So let's look at them. If this is the 7, we force a 7 here, 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 here. That all works. The 8, on the other hand, we do something like, that doesn't give me anything. Okay. What about sixes? That breaks it. Okay. Putting a 6 here would break this. And again, it's not technology, but the skill set of being able to see how these interact with each other seems to be what I am lacking. Because if I put a 6 here, was a 6 or was I telling myself an 8? I think I was telling myself 6. No, I was telling myself 8. If I put an 8 here, it forces an 8 here. Maybe I just did that backwards again. Because if this is a 6, this is a 6. This is a 6. This is a 6. That. No? Bear with me. I know this is painful. That's an 8. That's an 8. And I don't know how to continue it. Shoot. That one, that's what it was. That must have been it. If this is a 6, it forces this to be a 6, this to be a 6, this to be a 6. Then we have one of these. No, it didn't. Yeah, we have one of these has to be a 6, and one of these has to be a 6, which is an X-wing, which would make there no way to make a 6 here. Okay. I'm going to have to study after I finish this puzzle to again see how that determine, or the better way to figure that out instead of just picking a digit and looking at it. I mean, this clearly seemed like it was a good place to look just because of how it interacted across the board. But again, if I were to put a 6 here, it forces 6 here, which would force a 6 here, which would force a 6 here, which forces a 6 down here. That 6 over here forces it here and breaks it. So this can't be 6. This is 7. Therefore, 8 and 6 and 6 and 8 and 7 and 6. And 7, 8 there forces this one to be 6. That's 8 and 7. This is a 7. None of these are. And let's just look back on, okay, the 6 here, that's still the one I just didn't see. That's 8. This is 6. This is 7. That's 8 and 7. That's 8 and 7. And let's just get that 6 up here. That 6 is going to give us our 9 and our 6. This one here is 9, and this is 8. And there it goes. You saw the puzzle, yeah. So, shame on me for not knowing the proper way to look at these and to see, you know, how the 6, 7s, and 8s all work together. But I was able to deduce it a far simpler way. And like I said, I might not be able to get at it today, but I'm going to definitely go back and start looking at this one and figuring out how to educate myself on the better ways of looking at these types. But it's probably something along like a Y-wing or a swordfish. I know the names of some of these things, but it's not in my lexicon of Sudoku solves. Anyway, enough rambling. You had to painfully watch me do that. I'm not going to keep going. I hope you all enjoyed this one. I certainly did. There was a little bit of a sting at the end there for me. Hopefully not for you. If you did enjoy this one, hit that like, comment, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff. And we'll see you in the next one. Thanks a lot.